So we have our failing test. The output tells us the actual value being returned from our endpoint does not match our expected value. So let's write the code to make this test pass. All we need to do is open up our post controller, which has our index method inside it. And what we need to do here is grab all the posts using our model and Eloquent. So this is going to grab all the posts from the database. Don't forget to import the post class. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our structure from our test. Now, the collection of data being returned from the model object is really large. If you recall, in our test, we specified a specific structure to be returned. So this is why we copied it directly from there. So then we just need to return the structure. Okay, so we need to make sure that the return value is a Illuminate HTTP response. So we're going to use the response helper here. Just make sure that's correct. And now you can see we're grabbing all the posts, we're then putting it into the data structure, and then we are returning it as a response. So let's run our test to see what happens. Clear that up. And now we're going to run our test again. And we get a failure. So I wonder if any of you watching out there can understand why we have this failure. Did you spot it? Yes, it's because we did not add the return. Now you can see how tests are already adding its value by catching mistakes such as something like this, where we could have thought, oh, we are good to go because our code is correct. It's just that we didn't add the return value. Now you can see we have a passing test, and that's really good. So that means we have our first piece of code that is covered by a test and written or driven by this test, which means we have confidence in the way we wrote the feature. Now, you'll notice we are referencing the tables fields as strings in our array keys. So let's refactor this to be constants in our model. We already have our test, which asserts against structure, so all we need to do this time is to make the change. The benefit of refactoring the field names to the model is so we can make it easier when we have to reference them. They're all in just one place, and the autocomplete comes into play, as well as if we have to change the field names. So back in our model here, if we just create constants for each field, so first is title, and then second would be content. So again, this is just strings, however, they're a representation of what's in the database. Now we can just reference it like this, and here's the autocomplete coming into play of the ID. So to me, personally, it makes a lot of sense, and it's quick and easy to do. So we can just copy and paste it down here as well. So we'll just do the content bit. And now if we go back to our terminal and if we run our test again, it should pass. And yep, it does pass. Okay. Now let's make the same change in our test. So if we go back to our test, make sure that, again, we just change the strings for the constants. In fact, we could also do this in other places too. It's just wherever we reference the field names. Okay, so that's content done. All good. So what we need to do is go back to our terminal and run our test. Okay, good, it passes. We have now completed our first bit of work driven by a test. So let's commit our work. I'm just going to commit everything in my working directory here. Let me just bring it over a bit. Okay, all good. And we just add this commit message, add index endpoint for posts, and commit.